Okay, so I produced a Figma design tutorial on YouTube about 5 years ago, and that video now has over 4.6 million views. But here's what's really crazy. Right now, as you're watching, that video is being viewed around 40 times every single hour, or around 6.7 thousand times a week. That's 40 strangers each hour discovering a business, building trust with a brand, and potentially becoming customers, all from one video published over half a decade ago. And that's exactly why I believe every business should be on YouTube. By the way, hey, before we get started, my name's Callum. I'm the co-founder of Humble&Brag. And over 7 years ago, I started working in YouTube for businesses when I joined AJ & Smart, a product design consultancy here in Berlin. Now at the time, I'd never used a camera or any kind of serious audio-visual equipment, but I was tasked with building a video content system to ensure consistent growth for the company's channel. Since then, I've produced hundreds of videos across multiple business channels, and I've seen firsthand how YouTube can transform companies. So here's what most business owners don't understand. YouTube isn't just another social media platform. It's the second largest search engine on the planet, and it's owned by the first. When you create content on YouTube for your business, you're building a library of searchable, discoverable assets on one of the world's most powerful search platforms. And here's the opportunity that everyone's missing: the compounding effect of creating this content library. When your videos perform consistently, when they're optimized for the platform and attracting the right viewers, achieving good watch times, your content starts to compound. Videos you published a year or two ago that maybe didn't get much traction back in the day get picked up as your channel grows and is exposed to new viewers. Now, YouTube for businesses is often a long-term play, but if you invest now, you'll reap the rewards well into the future. The companies dominating YouTube today typically started 5, 10, maybe even 15 years ago, but put in the reps when no one else was. So in this video, I'm going to share 3 reasons why I believe every business should be on YouTube. Firstly, YouTube acts as a 24/7 sales team that never sleeps and never takes a day off. Secondly, you don't need millions of views to generate massive impact or revenue. You just need the right viewers watching the right content. And thirdly, getting good at YouTube as a business builds a competitive moat that's nearly impossible for your competitors to replicate or respond to quickly. So let's start with reason number 1. Think about this for a second. What if you had a sales team that worked every single hour of every single day, talking to thousands of people simultaneously, building trust and answering objections, all without ever asking for salary, commission, time off? That's what YouTube does for you. It's a trust-building machine. At both my previous employers, AJ & Smart and CareerFoundry, the sales teams there regularly heard the same thing from prospects during discovery calls. I found your company or your product on YouTube. But it went much deeper than that. People would watch one video, then 3, then 10, and then binge an entire series of content around a certain topic or niche. By the time they booked a sales call, they were already well informed and felt like they had a genuine relationship with the company. They knew the founders, they knew the wider team. At times they even knew the layout of the office, and they better understood the product. But most importantly, they already trusted the brand. They would proactively send out YouTube videos to prospects before calls, videos with titles like how to get a job in UX design or what skills make a good UX designer. The prospect would show up for the call already educated and already trusting the brand. They were already halfway sold. Now, the mechanism itself is pretty simple. You solve problems for your prospects before they ever talk to you. To give you another example from CareerFoundry, if someone's considering a career change into tech, for example, and you've already made videos about a certain role's pros and cons, the required skills involved, how to get started, a salary breakdown of different positions, portfolio examples, interviews with people already in the field, you've already likely answered most of your prospects' burning questions. You've demonstrated an expertise and you're building trust. In marketing, there's something called the 7-11-4 rule. Buyers typically spend 7 hours across 11 different interactions on 4 different platforms before making a purchase decision. YouTube compresses this timeline dramatically because each video counts as an interaction, and your channel houses multiple touchpoints in one centralized place. Someone can go from having never heard of you to being ready to buy in a single evening watching some of your content. So let me give you a more concrete example of this. Once again, at CareerFoundry, we created a video showcasing one of our flagship lead magnets. It was a short, interactive user experience design course. Now in this video, we actually showed a UX designer on camera going through this lead magnet short course. demonstrating the real value of the course inside and what the learning outcomes were, and perhaps more importantly, the discount code you could receive at the end for the company's main offering. Now, the viewership for this video was relatively low compared to more of a runaway hits that got hundreds of thousands of views. I think this one had about 52,000 views after about 3 years. But here's what happened. The conversion rate on this video jumped significantly, up to around 20 to 30% compared to the usual average of around 3 or 4% that we saw in other videos. People would watch the video, click on the link in the description, sign up for the short course, and complete the course. At the end, they would receive a discount voucher and then convert into a paying customer for our main course offering, which at the time was around $8,000 to $9,000. The entire sales journey for some of these viewers, from discovery to purchase of a high-ticket product, happened because of one strategically crafted YouTube video. Your sales team wasn't having 10 different conversations to close a deal, they were maybe having 1 or 2 conversations because YouTube had already done 90% of the heavy lifting. And that brings me on to reason number 2, which completely flips the script on how you should think about YouTube for your business. Okay, so here's where most businesses get YouTube completely wrong. They think they need millions of views to make it worth the investment. They see big creator channels with viral videos and think, that's not quite us. We can't compete with that. That rationale for being on YouTube doesn't really apply to our business. But there's a fundamental misunderstanding of how YouTube for businesses actually works. Remember that CareerFoundry video I just mentioned? 52,000 or so views over 3 or 4 years? That sounds tiny when you compare it to videos that hit the millions. But that small video generated more qualified leads and more high-ticket sales than almost anything else we published, ultimately contributing towards hundreds of thousands of euros in revenue. And why? Because it reached the right people and solved the right problem at the right time for them. 100,000 random views will never be as valuable as 1,000 views from your ideal customers who are actively searching for solutions you already provide. So how do you attract the right viewers instead of just chasing channel growth metrics? Well, you work backwards. You start with your ideal customers. What kind of problems keep them up at night? What questions do they repeatedly ask in sales calls? What concerns come up in emails or comments on other platforms? Then make video content that directly solves these problems for them. Also think strategically about your sales funnel. Where do people typically drop off? Where do they hesitate? If people are worried about the price, make a video about the ROI of your product or service, or the kind of money they could make from it in future. If they're concerned about time commitments, make a video showing a realistic timeline for success, covering real customer stories. You're not trying to reach everyone on the internet, you're trying to reach your ideal people with your solutions. Okay, so if you're still sitting there and thinking you're worried about not getting massive view figures, here's what I'd say. Most of YouTube's business impact comes from relatively lower view but higher targeted content anyway. You absolutely do not need hundreds of thousands of subscribers to transform your business's revenue with YouTube. Plus, YouTube can become a revenue source in its own right. Monetization, sponsorships, brand collaborations, influencer marketing. But that's always going to be secondary to the main benefit, which is qualified leads who already know, like, and trust you before they ever fill in a contact form. Focus on solving specific problems for your ideal customers. The views will follow, and more importantly, the right type of views will follow. Which leads perfectly into reason number 3. And this is why every business should be on YouTube right now, not next year. Here's the hard truth about YouTube. If you're a business, it can be pretty difficult. It's a long-term play with typically a steep learning curve. A lot of businesses post maybe 3, 4, 5 videos, get discouraged by the low initial views, and quit before they ever see results. And that's exactly why it's such a powerful competitive advantage for those who stick with it. YouTube isn't like other social platforms where you can hack your way to growth or buy your way to visibility. It requires, for the most part, an element of genuine skill and interest, understanding how to write titles that get clicks, thumbnails that stop the scroll, scripts that retain a viewer's attention, and editing that maintains pacing, coupled with SEO that drives discovery and analytics that inform your strategy. But here's the beautiful flip side. Because it's perceived as being hard, very few companies do it well. And that means if you put in the time, invest some resources in learning the platform, and commit to the process, you build a competitive moat around your business that competitors cannot cross easily. Your competitors would often be starting at times from absolute zero. They would have to spend years learning what you've already figured out through trial and error, and by the time they catch up to where you are today, you've already moved 5 steps ahead and completely dominated the search and SEO territory. And here's something that most business owners always overlook. YouTube is the second largest search engine on the internet, owned by the #1 search engine, Google. When you publish a video optimized for YouTube, it doesn't just live on YouTube, Google actively promotes it in search results. You can get your videos embedded on the first page of Google relatively easily. If you optimize your video chaptering correctly, people can click through to the exact timestamp that answers their specific question. And if you create multiple high-performing videos around the same core topic or keyword, you can literally dominate the entire video tab on Google's first page of search results. I've seen this firsthand with data analytics topics at CareerFoundry, and Figma and design sprint tutorials at AJ and Smart. It's far less competitive than traditional SEO with blog posts and backlink building, and honestly, it works a lot faster and more effectively for most businesses too. With one early client in particular, we were able to rank their video for a specific review-related query in a matter of days on the first page of Google search results. So, what's the other massive advantage? Well, your videos keep working for you long after you publish them. If you produce your videos in an evergreen manner, avoiding time-sensitive references or specific dates, YouTube will continue to push them to new viewers for months and even years to come. That Figma tutorial that I mentioned at the very beginning of this video, that's over 5 years old and is still driving around 40 views an hour, every single day. If it continues to track that way, that's over 350,000 views per year from one video that I published over a decade ago. Those are 350,000 qualified opportunities for people to discover a brand, fall in love with the content, and become customers. Your competitors can't replace that, and it can take years of consistent strategic effort to achieve. Now, AJ and Smart is the perfect case study for this Moat in action. If you go to YouTube or Google right now and search for anything related to design sprints, facilitation, or workshopping, you'll likely find their videos dominating the search results. And many of those videos are between a few years old up to 7 or 8 years old now. They were the only design agency going all in on YouTube back in the day, particularly with the founder being front and center, and now they completely own that search territory. Competitors could try and outrank them today, but it would take months of effort to even make a dent. That's a serious moat, and that's why businesses should be on YouTube building this advantage right now. So how do you balance creating valuable content with learning all the YouTube mechanics? Here's the simple truth. YouTube defines good content as content that people watch to near completion. High average view durations signal to the algorithm that your video is valuable for people, so it gets recommended to more people in search and suggested videos. Typically, a good benchmark to try and aim for is around 50% average view duration per video. But don't overcomplicate it when you're starting out. Create valuable content that addresses your ideal customer's main concerns and pain points. Strive to get into a consistent cadence of producing and publishing. You don't need perfection on day one, you just need to start releasing content. You'll refine as you go, learn what resonates with your audience, and analyze what's working over time. And here's where we are right now. YouTube as a business opportunity is becoming more accessible. Over the next few years, the platform will continue adopting features that make video creation easier for everyone. Think AI-powered text-to-video, automated transcriptions, intelligent thumbnail design tools, and a whole host of AI-powered features. People without filmmaking backgrounds or video production expertise will be able to create quality content more easily than ever before. And that sounds like it might make things more competitive, but here's the reality that separates your business from your competitors. Best time to start was probably 5 years ago, but the second best time is today. It's like investing in the stock market. The earlier you start, the more your results compound, both in terms of tangible business impacts and your own skills and expertise. The businesses that start building their YouTube presence now will have a huge advantage on everyone else that hesitates and waits that little bit longer. But I need to be completely honest with you about something. YouTube for business is a long-term play. If you're thinking you can dip into YouTube for a month or two, post a handful of videos and suddenly get viral results that transform your business overnight, you're likely setting yourself up for a big disappointment. This is about putting in the reps, building slowly and strategically, learning fast from your analytics and data, and staying committed to the process for the mid to long term. If you're serious about leveraging YouTube for business, and if you want to understand if this strategy is right for your specific situation, check out the Humble&Brag blog. We also have a free, pretty comprehensive ebook that you can download that breaks down whether YouTube is right for your business and exactly what's involved in the content production process. I'll link this somewhere in the description below. And if this video has helped your understanding of YouTube, please subscribe to the channel, because we're aiming to create more strategic content specifically designed for business owners and founders who want to use YouTube not just as a social platform, but as a genuine revenue-generating sales and marketing engine. So just lastly, I want to be real with you. YouTube can feel hard. It can feel dispiriting when you post your first handful of videos and they don't immediately take off. But it's also incredibly rewarding when you start to see that compound effect kick in. Think of YouTube for your business as a long-term investment in your company's future. You're building a library of assets that will generate qualified leads, build trust with your audience, and drive sustainable revenue for years and years, building authority and trust every single day. Now imagine having 50 of those videos doing that, or 100, or maybe even 200. That's the exponential power of YouTube for business, and that's why every business should be on YouTube. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.